What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy New Year. Hope everyone's well, doing fantastic, had a wonderful holiday season. Let's just jump into today's long form video, which is we are recapping my ranked experience for Split 1 of Season 11, talking about how Stormpoint plays as a ranked map and just talking about the experience, hopefully giving you guys good information for you guys to take on to the Split 2, which is currently going on. So if you guys enjoy that, leave a comment down below and like, and let's get right into it. Flame078 here, the normal gamer, which is important to understand because the topics and discussions and the tips come from that perspective to maximize the limited time that normal gamers play to grind rank. So how did Split 1 go with the new map? Overall, I personally think Stormpoint is a very fun ranked experience, and I think I put it slightly above World's Edge when it comes to the ranked play. I think it provides good pacing. It's so big, the POIs are massive, which is really good because a lot of teams can land in one place and still decently get good loot and allow you to kind of rotate out if need be. So I really did enjoy that very much. Also created really nice endgame possibilities because with everything being spread out, being in different locations, people had to be smart with the rotations. If you got caught on edge, it could be really bad unless you had certain legends. So it was kind of nice and allowed people to kind of always consistently find a fight, I felt, which is kind of different because on pubs, on the flip side, that wasn't really the case. You have this really bad problem of running around for a good decent amount of time after your first couple of fights. But not to say that that doesn't happen here either, which leads me to come up some of the things that I wish maybe could happen in the future. With Stormpoint particularly, I would love the player count increase, so that way it doesn't feel like that the pacing could be improved upon. I don't know how that would work long term, considering if you only have one map with the player increase. I don't know what that does for the integrity of ranked, but it would be a very nice change of pace because overall, the map can support more players. Another thing that I know people are annoyed about are the Prowlers. Personally, I do think it is manageable. I think they were done right. You really have to understand the Prowlers don't make it bad for bad players. They make it bad for bad players with bad game sense. There's a huge difference. Bad players in general just, don't know how to shoot and don't know what to do with their legend. But bad players with bad game sense just are the ones constantly making mistakes, even though they can easily handle mechanically 1v3s and whatnot. You have to understand that I think Prowlers, the best way to use them is either to clear them quickly or to avoid them completely, which makes you work on understanding how to rotate from point A to point B effectively. That's the biggest thing that I learned and my biggest takeaway, which is why I don't see them as an issue. If you rotate properly, they will never be a problem for you. So keep that in mind. But overall, I get where the community is coming from, and the biggest tweak that I think I can provide is let them be like the spiders. Well, they'll be activated if you shoot their nest. I think that will solve a lot of things. Now, that being said, let's move on to some of the legends I used and had a little bit of success with. Starting with at the beginning of the split, I used Ashe and Loba a lot. One, because Ashe was the newest legend that came with a season, and Loba was great to gear up quickly, especially on Stormpoint when you're learning the map. The biggest thing you want to do is just try to get a loot quickly so you can fight, and Loba and Ashe were really effective in that regard because Ashe allowed you to kind of move around, stop people, and be fight ready, and then Loba allowed you to get gear ready. I had it in Wraith in here and there and had really good success with her too because of the rotational power that we have with her. That's the biggest thing. But towards the end, I ended up using Crypto, and that's how I got the diamond with Crypto. Was you taking advantage of his kit because solo queuing in Apex hasn't changed, even with the new KP system, which we'll talk about in a bit, but it hasn't changed. You have to play smart. You have to understand that it's your game that takes priority, not everyone else's. Disregard this if you play with people. I'm talking about just the solo queue experience. Crypto is great because if you understand that he is an anchor, he plays slow, and you're allowed to justify leaving a fight because you can always just pick up banners and res later. I just took advantage of those things and was always able to at least get some kind of positive RP and that's what helped me climb. So that's why I ended up using crypto towards the end. So stay tuned. Might release some game commentary later, but let's move on to talking about my experience as a whole and what do I think about the KP system. Ranked solo queue has remained unchanged. It can be a luck of the draw, bad, good, really ugly. It really just has to come down to your mindset to really push you forward, especially if you're trying to achieve diamond or higher, because at that point, you're going to need a lot of mental fortitude there. But with Stormpoint, it was a nice, interesting experience where I felt like you definitely stayed in one place for long periods of time, because sometimes you would get RP, but it would be like minimum, like +9 or whatnot, something that wouldn't give you a good bump. And then if you had one bad game, you would lose all of that in an instant. So that's why I recommended the Legends. I did. But it is what it is. It didn't bother me too much. But the KP system is something we need to discuss, because it did introduce some flexibility. And I'm going to put some with air quotes, because on paper it's nicer, but there's ripe room for abuse, pretty much. So essentially you get 175 RP regardless of where you place, just based on the kills and assists you get in your match. So if you are able to frag out and be very aggressive and get like double-digit kills, you're going to be able to score a lot of RP and, essentially get justified for hot dropping and dying almost immediately, because, you can get RP on that way. That allows you to not play endgame, because one of the things that I've always said on this channel for consistent Apex grinders, the normal gamers who log into work and say, hi, how do I grind rank if I work most of the time and I don't have a lot of time to play, is focus on getting to your matches of getting to endgame and getting a couple of KP, and then that's how you're going to get significant grind success. With this ability to be aggressive, it does allow people who are mechanically able to push a lot of fights, win those successfully, and reward them for that kind of play style, because they don't have to wait the end game, which is usually around 15-20 minutes depending on the match, which is a long time all things considered. So if you can half that and get half of the potential RP, then you are sort of kind of maximizing your time. But the problem really is with that, there's a lot of room for abuse, right? You see a lot of people, especially on Twitter, you see people boosting, staying in zone, just reviving and killing each other, teaming. It's very disgusting, and it just leads to the whole sentiment that a lot of everyone in the community who is a diehard ranked player says, which is, we need team KP. Individual KP just is bad for the ranked scene, because a lot of people think that rank should be a stepping stone to ALGS, and if you look at the high level gameplays of each, they don't really match 1-to-1, because people are doing really dumb things, pushing fights they shouldn't push, leaving good positions that they shouldn't be leaving, and that's something you don't see pros doing. So it's really weird, and it revolves a whole separate conversation that I'll probably discuss later on about what's a good player and what's the actual optimal way to play. But I think that's the problem with the individual KP system. But now that you understand that you can be aggressive, then, well, there you go. Take advantage of that in Split 2 and see how it goes. Now, if that's something you want to do, go for it. That's the information I leave to you all. Overall, it was stressful, a mixed bag for sure. I made it to Diamond at the last possible second, and I will be releasing my gameplay commentary probably sometime later next week. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out. And I'm dropping daily videos, usually in short forms, about tips, tricks, legend breakdowns, all here. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the ranked experience? Let's have a discussion. And I would love to know how everything has been going for y'all. What did you think about Stormpoint as a ranked experience? Let's discuss, and I'll see you guys real soon. Have a great one. My name is Flame078, the normal gamer. Until next time, adios.